11 Interesting Facts about Johannes Gutenberg. Johannes Gutenberg was a German goldsmith, printer and inventor who is most famous for his printing press that started the printing revolution and made books accessible to the common man for the first time. This was made possible by Gutenberg's introduction of mechanical movable type printing in Europe, considered by many to be the most important event of the second millennium. However, Gutenberg did not enjoy the success of his invention, and it was only centuries after his death that he was recognized as one of the most influential men in history. Discover the family, life and achievements of Johannes Gutenberg through these 10 interesting facts. Your surname Gutenberg comes from your ancestral house. Born in the city of Mainz in Germany, Johannes Gensfleisch zur Leyden zum Gutenberg was the youngest son of Friel Gensfleisch zur Leyden and his second wife Else Weyrich. The year of his birth is not known with certainty. It is generally placed by historians between 1394 and 1404. In 15th century Germany, it was customary to use the house name as a surname. Johannes' family lived in his paternal ancestral home known as Hof zum Gutenberg. While his father took his surname Gensfleisch zur Leyden from other family properties, Johannes took his surname Hof zum Gutenberg. His father had a management role at the Mainz mint. Gutenberg's father, Friel Gensfleisch, was a goldsmith who had also served as a counselor, while his mother Else Weyrich was the daughter of a respectable shopkeeper in Mainz. Friel Gensfleisch also had some managerial role at the Mainz mint, and Johannes probably grew up learning how coins were made. Johannes had a brother and sister named Friel and Else, respectively. He also had a half-sister from his father's first marriage named Patsa. His family had to leave Mainz due to a revolt against the patricians. Patricia is a term used to denote members of the aristocratic families living in Europe at the time. They paid little or no taxes in Mainz and received annual payments, which came from the taxation of residents who were not patricians. Due to the devastating bubonic plague that hit Europe at the time, there was an uprising in Mainz against the patricians, and Gutenberg's family was among the many who had to leave Mainz in 1411. They probably moved to the town of Eltville, where the mother from Johannes an inherited property. Nothing is known about Gutenberg's schooling, although it is likely that he attended the University of Erfurt in Erfurt, Germany. Gutenberg probably didn't get married. Gutenberg's father Friel died in 1419. His family had returned to Mainz earlier, and Johannes remained in his hometown for some time thereafter. Nothing much is known about Gutenberg's 15 years of life after his father's death. By 1434, Gutenberg was definitely living in the city of Strasbourg, which was well known for metal crafts. In Strasbourg there was a case against Gutenberg by a patrician named Elweibel zur Eisernen, who accused Gutenberg of breaking his promise to marry her daughter, Enelin. The outcome of the case is not known, but it is certain that Gutenberg did not marry her. There is no evidence that Gutenberg ever married anyone or had children. He entered into an illegal enterprise involving pilgrim mirrors. Aachen, during the 15th century, was the most famous sanctuary in Germany. It was located about 160 miles northwest of Strasbourg. There was a sacred event scheduled in Aachen in 1439 at which thousands of people were expected. Many pilgrims believed that if they were able to capture the reflection of the holy relics in Aachen in a mirror, they would also capture some of their healing powers. In 1438, Johannes Gutenberg entered into a venture to make convex mirrors for pilgrims, which he thought would give him a large profit. However, after thousands of mirrors were made, the pilgrimage to Aachen was postponed due to flooding and illness. Gutenberg was now required to deal with investors, and he agreed to share with them a secret which was probably his plan to implement mass printing with movable type. Early career. From a young age, he revealed a strong inclination towards reading all the books his parents had at home. Books, at the time, were written by hand, by monks, students and scribes, and each copy took months to be prepared, the price being extremely high and unaffordable for most people. He worked as a jeweler, where he mastered the art of mold construction and gold and silver casting. From this experience, his types were excellent, including artistically. In 1434, Gutenberg moved to Strasbourg, where he stayed for several years. After returning to Mainz, he partnered with a merchant who financed him to print the Bible. The press. The printing press is another of Gutenberg's contributions. Since the time of Sumer, discs or cylinders were used on which the negative of the text to be printed was engraved, in general, only the initials of the owner of the cylinder to guarantee the authenticity of the tablets that carried it. Presses in the Middle Ages were simple fat and heavy tables or blocks of stone that were placed on the inked printing matrix to transfer its image to parchment or paper. Gutenberg's printing press was based on the presses used to squeeze the juice from grapes in making wine, with which Gutenberg was familiar, as Mainz, where he was born and lived, is in the Rhine Valley, a wine-growing region since Roman times. After the invention of types and the adaptation of the wine press, Gutenberg continued experimenting with the press until he achieved a functional device. He also researched paper and paints. Both had to behave in such a way that the inks were absorbed by the paper without running, ensuring the precision of the lines. Drying was required to be quick and the print to be permanent. Therefore, Gutenberg experimented with olive oil-based pigments, which he used not only to print with the matrices, but also the drop caps and illustrations that were made manually with the rag paper of Chinese origin introduced in Europe at the time. Johannes Gutenberg is most famous for introducing mobile type printing in Europe. Movable type is a printing technology that uses movable components to reproduce the elements of a document. This printing system was invented between 1041 and 1048 in China by the craftsman Bai Sheng. Around 1230, Koreans invented movable metal type printing that was similar to the Gutenberg process. However, unlike the 26-letter alphabet used by Europeans, the Chinese language uses tens of thousands of characters, while Korean also has around 40,000 characters. Around 1450, Johannes Gutenberg made his own version of a metal movable type press with innovations in die-based typecasting and manual mold. Thus he introduced movable type printing to Europe, which would have far-reaching effects. The limited number of characters in European languages was an essential factor in ensuring the effectiveness of Gutenberg's invention. The Gutenberg Bible is one of the most valuable books in the world. In the early 1450s, Johannes Gutenberg used his invention to produce about 180 copies of the Bible, now famous as the Gutenberg Bible. Due to their remarkable quality, the books sold quickly, fetching as much as 30 guilders, about 3 years' salary for a clerk at the time. The Gutenberg Bible was the first mass-produced book in Europe and has since achieved iconic status. Of the approximately 180 original printed copies of the book, 49 still exist, less than half of which are complete. They are mainly maintained by libraries, museums or universities. The last sale of a complete Gutenberg Bible occurred in 1978, when it sold for $2.2 million. Experts estimate that a complete copy would now be worth around $35 million at auction. He could not take advantage of the success of his invention. To carry out his biblical project, Gutenberg borrowed money from a wealthy moneylender Johann Fust. Fust's future son-in-law, Peter Schoeffer, also joined the company later. In 1456 there was a dispute between Gutenberg and Fust in which Fust accused Gutenberg of misusing his funds and demanded his money back. Gutenberg's debt exceeded 20,000 guilders. Fust sued in the Archbishop's court and the court ruled in his favor, giving Fust control over the Bible printing shop and half of all Bibles printed. The trial led to Gutenberg's near bankruptcy, while Fust and Schoeffer used their invention to print the MAINZ Psalter, a religious book commissioned by the Archbishop of Mainz in 1457. The MAINZ Psalter was the first book to bear the name of its printers, Fust and Schoeffer, but had no mention of the inventor of the printing process, Johannes Gutenberg. Gutenberg received the title of Gentleman of the Court by the Archbishop of Mainz. In 1461–62, there was a war for the throne of the Archbishop of Mainz. Mainz was dismissed by Archbishop Adolf von Nassau and Gutenberg left the city. He stayed in the town of Eltville for a few years before returning to Mainz. In January 1465, Gutenberg's achievements were somewhat recognized. He was given the title of Hofmann, Gentleman of the Court, by Archbishop Adolf von Nassau. The honor also included a stipend, an annual court outfit, as well as 2,180 liters of grain and 2,000 liters of tax-free wine. Johannes Gutenberg died on February 3, 1468 and was buried in the Franciscan church in Mainz. He remained financially unsuccessful and largely unknown during his lifetime. The enormity of his contribution was only realized by future generations. Johannes Gutenberg is considered one of the most influential people in history. Before Johannes Gutenberg, there were only about 30,000 books in all of Europe. His printing technology quickly spread across Europe, and by 1500 printing presses had produced more than 20 million volumes. Production in the 16th century was estimated at 150 to 200 million copies. Gutenberg's invention for the first time made books affordable to common people, increased literacy, and broke the monopoly of the rich on education. It played a pivotal role in the development of the Renaissance, Reformation, Age of Enlightenment, and the Scientific Revolution. The printing revolution sparked by Gutenberg's work altered the structure of society, challenged religious institutions, and is considered a key event that led to the modern era. In 1997, Time Life magazine chose Gutenberg's invention as the most important of the second millennium, while in 1999 the ANE network ranked Johannes Gutenberg as the most influential person of the second millennium. Gutenberg's contribution to printing. In addition to introducing metal movable type printing to Europe, Johannes Gutenberg invented many unique elements that were responsible for the remarkable quality of the printed material. He was the first to make types from an alloy of lead, tin and antimony. This was more suitable for printing than previous materials and proved instrumental in producing high-quality printed books. Gutenberg ingeniously used a special die that allows the rapid and precise molding of new types of blocks from a uniform template. He is also credited with introducing an oil-based paint that was more durable than the water-based paints previously used. So, what did you think of today's video? Did you already know any of these interesting facts about Gutenberg? What impressed you most? Let us know your thoughts on this topic, as we would love to respond to your comments below. And if you liked this video and haven't subscribed to our channel yet, subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss any of the intriguing videos we post every week. And if you want to take advantage and learn a little more, be sure to click on one of these videos that we are suggesting for you. Until the next video.